It's time to talk all about Boeing. The earnings are due out tomorrow morning, and we're going to take a look ahead, what you can watch for with this earnings, what numbers, maybe what to listen for on the conference call. Dave Wagner, portfolio manager, equity analyst at Aptus Capital Partners, and Bob Lang, founder, chief strategist at Explosive Options. Bob, some of your thoughts. Let's hear what we should watch for when it comes to Boeing, and how optimistic are you feeling?
Well, I'm pretty optimistic, Nicole. Good to see you again. I'm pretty optimistic about Boeing and their earnings this time around. Last quarter, when they reported their earnings in January, I called it the kitchen sink quarter, which is basically they threw in all their bad stuff into this one quarter, and it was an atrocious number, but I think most people were expecting that to come out this time around. I know the analysts are expecting still a negative $1.96 on the earnings on the bottom line, and a little bit of a miss on the top line. I'm thinking that they're going to come in a little bit better on both the top and the bottom line. I'm looking for guidance also to pick up, and I'm also looking for a little bit better free cash flow guidance. It's not going to be right now, but I mean over the next couple of years, what kind of free cash flow they're expecting to get over the next couple of years.
Dave, do you think we can get some surprises tomorrow in a good way?
I think we can get some surprises, but I'm actually going to take the other side of the coin. I'm getting more excited about this story, but I'm not there just yet. I think there's just too much noise right now surrounding Boeing and the overall results. And I think it's going to be overshadowed by delivery guidance and obviously kind of this China story that's going on. In fact, I think the biggest thing that I'm looking for on this earnings call is going to be that clarity on deliveries, because airliners may start to refuse some deliveries if tariff costs are going to be added to the price tag. So really just kind of gauging the temperature out there in the market right now in regards to that, because right now we don't know what tariffs are sticky, which ones aren't, but that's kind of the key to the story for me right now for Boeing.
Yeah, and I'll expand on that, Dave, because I was thinking about how China was maybe not going to take Boeing deliveries, but not just the whole airline, but also airline parts. It sounded intense and not really feasible, really, because how would they really, if they're going to have older planes, they're going to need parts. And Scott Besson at the same time has noted that maybe we'll see something de-escalation in the very near future when it comes to some of the trade talks with China. That seems good, but it won't happen by tomorrow morning, right?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I mean, to your point, it surprised me that the U.S. would allow this, as it definitely gives a non-U.S. company like Airbus kind of a leg up, especially on this mysterious 500 plane order that's kind of been rumored out there in regards to China. But I'd say at the first point, it probably was unlikely that Boeing would have the opportunity to get this order given the current trade war anyways. But overall, it's still just a negative sentiment factor for Boeing, given the implication, that could be a long-term shift in the Chinese market towards Airbus due to political decisions being made right now.
You can spin the headline any way you want. We've talked about a Boeing deal today. One report saying now leaning on asset sales to restore investor confidence, Boeing is. And we know they have a $10.5 billion deal to sell off a part of the business. And so with that, is that enough to give confidence going forward? They've had production setbacks. They have been spending cash. It's not all good news here, Bob, but you're still going to try and because the other quarter, last quarter, was more of a spill it out kitchen sink quarter, you think maybe there's something good here?
Yeah, I do, Nicole. And I think that the asset sales are probably going to set the company up to maybe perhaps announce a buyback. I'm not sure if that's where they want to go with their cash from the balance sheet, or possibly set up an increase in their dividend. I think that would be certainly attractive to big institutional investors, which, by the way, we've seen quite a bit of activity from big institutions wanting to jump in and start buying Boeing, especially off of this recent drop of about 15% from the recent highs. So I think that right there is an attractive point, but certainly the asset sales that you're talking about is going to, put them a little bit ahead of some of the competitors with a little bit more cash in the bank.
So what do you think here, Dave? I mean, they said that the sale could strengthen the capital structure. It could allow the company to really focus on its core business, and that's good news. Is that enough to give Boeing? You are a believer in Boeing. It's at $162. Would you buy it today? Are you waiting for it to drop to a certain price?
I'm probably waiting for it to pull back a little bit more. There's just too much noise going on. Like, I agree with Bob. It definitely gives the company a little bit of optionality, but you got to absolutely love what Kelly, the CEO, is doing here. It definitely aligns, perfectly with his long-term plan for Boeing. And as an investor, it's exactly what you want to see. I love stocks that embody simplicity. And the sale makes, Boeing a more simplistic story. To your point, Nicole, that they're going to be focusing on their core competency of manufacturing airplanes while continuing to improve their capital structure and prioritizing the company's investment-grade credit rating. And obviously, this comes at a time, where 2025 cash flow can be a little bit lumpy with all the potential delays in delivery. So this $10 billion is definitely welcome.
Yeah, $10.5 billion for these assets to Thoma Bravo. Dave, we'll give you the final word. Do you buy a Boeing here? Final word maybe on the whole aerospace and defense group?
I think they've probably been, I think you got to pick your story here on idiosyncratic growth catalyst. I think majority of the entire sector's probably been hit a bit draconian with all the Doge and everything else kind of floating around. I think I'd want to wait a few quarters to buy into Boeing given the noise. I want to see that they can continue to execute on a consistent basis.
Good to see you both. Dave Wagner, Bob Lang. Dave and Bob, thank you for that good look there at Boeing for tomorrow morning.